Hello, welcome to Zirkzank Says. I figured out a great way to introduce this now, properly. That is, I'm not complaining, I'm documenting my current scenario for future reference. That way I can get past the whole, the idea that complaining about your problems instead of solving them, and the idea that nobody wants to hear negativity. You don't want to perpetuate negativity, there's enough negativity in the world. 90% of people, 50% of people don't want to hear your problems, and the other 50% are glad you have them. Something along that ratio. But my argument against that, not that it needs to be argued against, but I'm doing it anyway, out of, say, boredom, necessity, for my own comfort, I guess, if that's what you could call it. For my own comfort, I'm going to say that there has to be an argued reason to make it valid for me to make a video where I complain. Sorry, it's not complaining. It's documentation of negativity for scientific reference. Anyone wants to use this as a particular case study. It's not very well monitored and don't really have a control, but I can look at it in the future as anecdotal evidence. And say to somebody, hey, I was in this shitty position, then I turned it all around, and now look where I am. That was left to right. Let's start over here. From over here to here. So you get your progress. That's the way progress goes, apparently. Arbitrarily decided that progress is left to right. I don't know why. You can't have it either way. Progress can be anywhere. That's the problem. It's just so... It can be found anywhere, I just don't know where to look. It can also be found nowhere, because I've looked everywhere. That's not true entirely, but it feels like it is. You can see that I'm contradicting myself a lot. I have reached that state again, where it's very difficult for me to find a coherent and consistent pathway. I don't have any structure to my day. I wake up every morning feeling like I have no reason to be alive until I get my coffee, and then I know I have no reason to be alive because coffee perks the brain up a little bit. Before you're a little bit fuzzy, but then when you've had your coffee, you know for certain. First it's a bit vague, but you get the idea. I could turn my life around at some point. So then my documentation of negativity is like, oh look, he had he didn't like things, now he does. Great, that'd be great. Then tell people, oh, I just did this. I started running every morning, I quit porn, and I got a job. Something along those lines, I followed my passion. One of those classic ones. Something like that, And then you look back on it, and then and for my own sake, if I ever get out of this position, I can look back and say, wow, Zirkzank, when he was in that state, look at how shit he was. I don't want to be back there ever again. I don't want to be him. So you use it as like a reference point to remind you, like a punishment, On the other hand, it could be also interpreted that if I do end up killing myself, which is very unlikely, or if I do end up dying, that I've been miserable and then killed myself and then died. So either way, it's a win-win for science, because you get to document this happened, this person sucked, which led to them killing themselves. I'm not going to kill myself. I just feel like it, and I think a lot of people can relate with that. Nobody actually wants to get in the shower or the bathtub if you have that luxury. Nobody wants to get into their swimming pool if you have that luxury. No one wants to get into the jacuzzi. Okay, everyone wants to get into the jacuzzi because you got all those fucking bubble jets blasting at you, and that feels great. you want to get into some kind of porcelain, ceramic, or plastic kind of containment and slit your throat and just bleed to death. Take nerve gas, overdose on paracetamol or something. You want to die, basically, is what I'm trying to say. That was different ways of saying death. You don't want to actually do the suicide. You just want to not have to deal with life, basically. I think I can speak for everyone who's ever lived and thought, I don't like this. Anyone who's ever just thought, I don't like what my life is right now, and I don't care enough about what it could be or what it has been to even think, oh, maybe if I just, you just think, I want to die because it's like the most extreme thing you can think of, and it's the easiest way to get rid of your problems by getting rid of the you that feels the problems. You're not actually getting rid of any problems. You're just getting rid of the fact of you're getting rid of your way of feeling them. So like I said in my previous video, are problems real or psychological? You could make an argument that because everything is just matter and energy, that everything we think is a problem isn't a problem because it isn't even anything other than information, arbitrary information, fact-based information. But that's a bad perspective and bad scale to use, so we'll use the human scale. Are there problems to humanity? Are there problems to individuals from the perspective of their survival? And yes, that's definitely true. There definitely are people who have survival problems. Do I personally have survival problems? No. For the rest of my life, I could argue up to maybe 80 years if I'm lucky, I could essentially continue on like I am doing now, not dying. I have so much opportunity to do anything, but I can't seem to muster the correct mindset to get anything reasonably productive done at all. I don't like to think that I'm shit at doing stuff, but that the belief versus reality is an overwhelming argument. I have to go with what scientific evidence, what data has suggested, which is that I'm as bad as I would like not to be, but despite thinking I have the capacity to change it, I perhaps don't. And I don't know what to do. I said that in my previous episode, thinking that every time I say it, I would eventually get to a point where I do, but I don't. I'll give a quick rundown, because for the past, I would say, it's been about a month and a half so far that I've been back here, or I've been back here for a month and a half now, and what here is living at my mother's house. I pay my mother board money, which is like, that covers rent, gas, electricity, internet, phone bills, food, and that kind of stuff. So I'm paying my mum to stay here. I have a limited supply of money. I call it a supply because it is sort of just a supply that was given to me on loan, but student loan from the government, and some that is savings that I was lucky enough to inherit from my grandfather. So I have a limited resources left over. Could use that to invest in something, but I don't know if I should. And there's an Elon Musk quote which is, if you need inspiring words, don't do it. And I really like that, because it essentially distills to, if you don't know that you should do it, don't do it. And it's like a Jordan Peterson thing as well. It's like, if you don't absolutely 100% know that you should be doing anything different to what everyone else is doing, then don't do it. Basically, just look at what everyone else does and do it. So instead of trying to follow my dreams or whatever the hell that means. Because I don't even know what my dreams are. I don't even have any passion for that, so I can't even do that even if I wanted to do that. So instead of doing that, I'm thinking, I'm not going to follow any dreams. I'm not going to invest in anything. I'm going to just try and do what everyone else does. What does everyone else do? They go to work. Well, I tried getting work, but what does everyone else do to get work? Well, it seems that they apply for jobs, they go to interviews, they get work. I'm doing this, but I gotta be honest, my scenario right now is even dumber than it needs to be. I can't apply for anything that requires me to have my degree, because I don't get my degree for another month or so. The paper that suggests it. Most employers don't care about your squirrels. They don't care about your squirrels and your qualifications. They don't care how many nuts you've stored away. My water's on the other side of the room, and I'm not pausing this. I'm just going to keep talking. The reason that water was on the other side of the room is because I poured it into the glass. I brought it upstairs, and it was sparkling water. I'm a fancy guy. It's not San Pellegrino. It's Asda's carbonated water. It was sparkling and making too much noise. The microphone was picking it up, so I moved it to the side of the room, and it's gone a little bit flatter now. So I brought it back. What was I saying? What employers want? Yeah. They don't. The thing they care about the least is your qualifications and skills. The things they care about most are a bunch of other things. I learned that today. Today I went to a work job traineeship application taster. So it wasn't the traineeship, it wasn't a job interview, and it wasn't applying for a job. It was a taster for a traineeship that I apparently am not eligible to do because I have too high a qualification. They wanted people with level 2 or below. I have a level 6 qualification, which is they wanted people who don't have who haven't finished college, and I finished college, which is level 3, and did 3 years of university, which led up to level 6. Maybe it was level 5. I don't know. I don't need to know, because what I learned at this traineeship thing was that employers don't care about your qualifications. They care about you as an individual, whether you're hardworking, reliable, honest, and a bunch of other things that are very difficult to just at the click of a finger become this. And they're very, very, very difficult to just put on a CV. Yes, I am honest. Yes, I am reliable. Yes, I am punctual. Yes, I dress smart. Yes, I have a good initiative and a positive outlook on life, and all of these things. Because, I don't know if you're a follower or a fan of Zirkzank, I'm almost the opposite of all of these things, except honest. I am honest. Too honest, perhaps. Too honest and too cynical. But the point being that I wasted my time with that. The reason I had to waste time with that was that the job centre, my work coach at the job centre, the universal credit, if I've not explained that yet, I can't even remember. I'll explain that in a second. But essentially they said that I had to do it. You have to keep applying for everything that becomes available. You have a fucking claimant commitment. Let's see if I've got it here in all this fucking paperwork. Right, I am registered with all of these fucking job Indeed, Monster, Universal Job Match. I will apply to all jobs I can do. How often? Daily, weekly. Apply 35 hours a week, every day. Look for jobs. I'm in Hull, There aren't any. Surprise, surprise. It's not in anything that will accept me. And ask family members twice a week. Do a bunch of other things that I have to go to. Meetings and appointments and workshops and online things. So I've got to be doing that. You can't do 35 hours of job searching a week, let me tell you. The reason you can't is because within a radius of where I'm able to work without a car, I know, it's a shame, I can't drive, so I can't get really outside of Hull, I'm trapped. There aren't that many jobs added every day that I can be looking daily for new jobs. Maybe 10 to 15 jobs will get added to these websites. If they get added to one, they get added to another, or the same jobs will appear. So 10 jobs a day extra that are ones that I can apply for, let's say. I'll get rejected from them because I have no work experience. So I just have to keep applying to these jobs and then getting rejected every day for 35 hours a week. And now, the way that they check that is, they give you a little piece of paper where on this piece of paper, you just write what you have to do. So, for example, McDonald's interview. I went to a McDonald's interview, and that day I spent 3 hours of looking for work. I went to a session that they sent me to. That took me 2 hours. I went to another appointment. That took me 2 hours. I didn't do anything on these days, and I put a line through it because that was my grandfather's 90th birthday. Went down to Leicester, saw some family. Was that looking for work? No. Should I have been looking for work? No. It was his 90th birthday. I wanted to enjoy that. But yeah, the point is, they give you just have to sort of put down here as much work as you. And I am doing 35 hours of looking, at least. I just think that it's a lot of people feel like you have to lie about that. And maybe you do have to exaggerate, or maybe you just have to do it slowly in order to meet the requirements, because you absolutely, it doesn't take you 5 hours a day, 7 days a week to hit 35. Is that even 5 times 7, 35? Yeah, it doesn't take that long to look at a new job listing and read the title and see marketing director for whatever, and then think, well, that's not me. Sanitation engineer. They don't even list that kind of thing on these websites. Just so you know, I've not seen sanitation engineer on there. But you look at the titles and you can already see that it's not something that you can do. So it doesn't take that long unless you're actually applying for stuff. So actual applying stuff maybe takes an hour or two for each application. If you're fast, it'll take about 5 seconds. But you can really stretch how long it takes by going to their website, reading about the company, reading the job description, tailoring your CV in order to fit for the job, and then submitting that. You can stretch that out for like 2 hours, especially if they have a website where you have to create an account. How many accounts have I created on these different company websites in order to find a job that's there, and then when I've made my account, I go to apply for the job and it's not there anymore. Too many times. But hey, I'm getting sidetracked. What I was trying to say initially was that the universal credit system, just like any other government system, is pretty flawed. It's slow, and instead of helping me get work, they're forcing me to go through a process where I have to drag out the process of getting constantly rejected by employers, despite the fact that I've explained to them I need work experience. Can they give me work experience? So yes, they sent me on this like traineeship, the work experience, told me to apply for some other thing, traineeship. But these are all in retail. So first of all, they're in a sector that I have no prior experience in and no speciality in. I'm basically autistic when it comes to social interaction. This is different to face. Talking to a camera is a skill that I have definitely built up a little bit, but it's not the same as face to face. Hi, how are you? How can I help you? I'm David. Or welcome to think of a company. Welcome to Zipporal Entertainment. How can I help you? I can't do that. It's like, oh, you're looking for something in the Zipporal section. I can sell you some entertainment. I don't know. I'm not an expert in that. I can program it in Unreal Blueprint and 3D model stuff in ZBrush, Max, Mudbox, and Maya, and Flash, and I can do a lot of digital stuff. Can do this, YouTube, tons of digital stuff, non-retail stuff, but they make me do retail stuff because that's all there is in Hull. There are no digital jobs, or there are, but they won't even look at my application because no work experience. So they make me do these retail work experience, which will be a waste of time, but they make you apply for more than one at a time. So if you get onto any of these courses, like I won't get onto the course that I'm overqualified for, that they made me apply for and then made me go to the thing for, then I have another one on the night in like 5 days that I have to go to, which will be one that I start doing, and then once that's fucking over, would you believe it? I don't know how to hold this in a way that doesn't reveal my information. That there. Can you see that? Jury summons. Fantastic. Do you know when the last time I did jury summons was? Fucking last year. Last year I was on jury summons and I get summoned to this while I'm looking for work. So I don't have a job yet. That's on the 20th of that starts on the 19th of October. It's currently the 13th of September, and essentially what's going to happen is any job that I get onto, I will immediately have to tell them, sorry, I got my jury summons. So it's nice to be on board the team. I'm looking forward to a great start week, but I won't be there for it because I'll be in fucking court doing jury service. That's not a great start. Employer, they understand, everyone has to go do their jury service, but it still doesn't look good that I spent my first week or second week, let's not be optimistic here, I'm not going to have a job before that starts, am I? And I'm not going to be looking for a job whilst I'm doing it. Maybe I am, but I won't be getting paid while I'm doing my jury service. It's taking up extra time that I need to be spending on doing other things. So this is another piece of government, I would call it farce. I don't know what the other word is. Government fuss, government faffing. It's just such a slow process. Bureaucracy, I think, is the word for it. It just moves so slowly. It's being wrapped up in all of these systems. I'm not complaining, the law system or whatever, I have to do my jury service. I have to be applying for work each week to deserve universal credit. But I just feel like courts themselves could be a lot more efficient. That's something I noticed last time I was in the court. The entire process that we went through did not have to require such an elaborate ordeal with so many people, so much paperwork, lots and lots of paperwork, lots of formalities. People have to stand up, say their name, swear an oath, and all of this kind of thing. People have to be put in a waiting room. There have to be speeches. There's a big long formal process throughout all of the court stuff that makes a 10-minute, well, it could be condensed to 10 minutes, but it actually takes maybe 2 days to do. 2 days to do a 10-minute thing. So, bureaucracy aside from the courts, that's a separate issue. The law system and the court system could be reworked to be a lot more streamlined and a lot more modern. Use a lot less paperwork and a lot less talking. I mean, if you're getting paid to talk, as judges are, a lot of money, you probably do want to talk slowly and repeat yourself and put pauses in and make other people say the things that they have to say slowly as well. I'm not going to continue that, I'm sorry. I just paused because I need to think. Universal Credit could do a better job of helping people to find work. Maybe it's not their place to find work. Maybe it's the place of people to find work. But I went there thinking they would be offering me jobs, and they're not. They're telling me to find the jobs. And then there's posters. This is funny. There are posters. There are posters at the job centre that say 70% of jobs are not advertised. Think about that for a second. They're telling me to look in this 30% of advertised jobs, while they full well know that there are jobs that aren't advertised. So what do they say? Oh, go and inquire, go and ask. I mean, I could do that, but I don't know where to ask. I know that I shouldn't have to have somebody holding my hand and telling me these things, but let's be honest. I've got a lot going on. No, it's not too much, but it is still quite stressful. Keeping up with all of the keeping on top of the paperwork that they keep giving me. And I've had to put it into a fucking folder now. That's how much paperwork I'm being given. It doesn't look like much because it's quite flattened down, but you can probably hear. You can't hear it. Ignore what I just said, but it's heavy enough. If I could like weight it down, you let you feel how heavy it is. There's a lot of paper there. Keeping on top of all the paperwork, keeping on top of all this stuff online, it's definitely not good. It's definitely not great that I have to be dealing with all of that shit on top of supposedly, if I was even getting interviews, supposedly going to interviews and supposedly inquiring to places, supposedly sitting down and taking the time out to be researching what is available. They just make me get very what's the word, on edge. It just puts me on edge, and it's very difficult to focus when you get put on edge like that. I'm great at working under pressure when it is a task that I don't know how to explain it, but I'm good at working under pressure when what it is that I have to do is something that I don't have to have a preconceived thought about. So the opposite of what I just said, actually. I need to at least have some sense of what is happening in the pressure situation, or have a moment to just sit and have clarity. But with all of this, there's a lot going on in my head with that. And did I yet talk about my interview at McDonald's? I wouldn't be talking about any of this stuff if I'd actually been successful with that. So let me get on to that. McDonald's, the place that's famous for being really easy to get a job at. Let's call it that. Let's call it what it is. People think if you work at McDonald's, you've gone there to work as a last resort. They think you're stupid, that you can't do anything else. They think that McDonald's employees are the dumbest of the dumb. That might be true, and that might be why they didn't want to hire me. There's a phrase that goes around, overqualified. I don't like to think that that's a possibility, that anyone can really be overqualified for McDonald's work, because work is work, and if you're highly qualified, you can probably work better maybe than someone who's underqualified, because you you just you've demonstrated by your ability to get a PhD, for example, you've demonstrated that you can really work hard at something. So why would you not be able to work hard at doing whatever McDonald's people do? You could do it. So yeah, I got invited into an interview. It's not like they said, sorry, you're overqualified, no interview. They took me in. They didn't tell me what was going to happen in the interview. I sat down with someone, spoke to them, they asked me some questions, I answered the questions, that's what an interview is. But it was followed by an OJE, which stands for on-job evaluation. So what they do is they make you do work for 5 minutes and then evaluate you on that work. I did not think that that's what I would have to be doing on my first time going there without them telling me what it would be. So I went there and I asked them, what would I have to do? And they said, oh, you'll find out about that at some point. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fair enough. Sent me an email with the job interview, go to the job interview, come back. That's how I thought it would go. But no, straight after the interview, bam, downstairs, bam, to the kitchen. All right, let's take your passport and your national insurance number. That's your tax number or whatever. So they scan my ID, scan my thing, and I'm thinking, okay, right, that's it. We're going now. I'm going now. They've got my details. They're probably interested to bring me in for the next thing. But no, they just sent me straight into it. Right, follow me. Right, so I'm standing around the corner because there's this woman who is walking in and saying, look, she's saying, I'll show you how to do it. And then I'm thinking, like, what, is she going to make me do it now? No, she's not going to make me do it now. She goes out, starts taking people, giving people their order. If you've ever been to McDonald's, you get a little receipt that has your order number on it. You look up to the thing, see when your order's there, and the woman says, she's like, number 50. And so you go up, oh, number 50 is me. You go up and you show her your thing. Look, woman, it's number 50. And she's like, yep, you're right, it's number 50. That was a cheeseburger. Here's your cheeseburger. And then she takes the receipt, her side of the receipt, scans it onto the thing, makes the number disappear from up at the top, and then she throws away the receipt. Waste of paper, I know, but, it's a big company, they don't care. They also do a lot of other shit that's a bit shady, but doesn't matter. Okay, that's simple enough. What else do I have to do as a McDonald's employee, as a crew member? I thought I would be having to flip burgers and put cheese onto a cart and clean tables, maybe clean toilets. I wouldn't like to, but it's something you'd have to do. Clean the tables. Some kids spraying ketchup everywhere on the floor. Clean the floor a bit. No, she asked me to do this for 5 minutes. So I'm taking the numbers. I'm thinking, like, all right, I've been on the other side of this. I know what it's like. You just want your food as soon as possible. So as soon as they give you someone puts a bit of food next to you, oh, that's number 51. All right, 51. You hold it up. You say 51. Wasn't loud enough apparently. So I said it louder the next time. And 60, 60, 60. Or just 60. Look around, try and make eye contact with people, see who's moving forwards, They come and give them, oh yeah, that was the Big Mac meal, give them that. Give them the meal, scan the thing. That's done. It's not difficult. And I did that. But I didn't make it onto the next stage after that. Might have been that there was somebody who did whatever the fuck that task was, they did better than me. Maybe they smiled a bit more. Does that matter? No, smiling doesn't matter. They like to think it does, but it doesn't. Nobody cares if the person giving them their cheeseburger is smiling or not. They just want the fucking cheeseburger because they're fucking hungry. So, I didn't smile. Why would I smile? Smiling,
Enjoy your cheeseburger.
It's just such a ridiculous thing to expect. Well, it's clear that retail isn't for me. I'm definitely not going to be doing that, so why they keep sending me on all these retail courses is just beyond me. I'm a computer whiz, so like a computer expert. Except I don't have a degree that says IT in it. I don't have any work experience that says anything in it because I don't have any. But there are no work experience places that do computer stuff, because the most advanced piece of technology is probably my fucking phone. That's not true. I'm sure there are more advanced things around here, but this is on the list, and this isn't even a great phone. It's a Huawei P9 Lite. It's not even modern, but it's probably the fastest processor in Hull. No, it's not great. It's not great. So yeah, McDonald's, fuck that. I'm not eating there ever again. Well, they didn't employ me, so, how else am I supposed to protest? I'll probably end up going there because McFlurries are quite nice. The milkshakes are quite nice. The atmosphere, I love it, ketchup all over, fucking shitty pop music coming through the tinny speakers. I fucking love McDonald's. I guess I didn't have enough passion for the company. That's another thing. I told them I did, because at the time I did. I was thinking, oh yeah, I come here with my friends and it's great. I like McDonald's. But actually, I like my friends. I don't like McDonald's anymore. So McDonald's sucks. Getting a job is not easy. Government bureaucracy is a fucking ball ache. And I still don't have any meaning in my life. And that concludes part 1 of this episode. Check out part 2 for the continuation of this, where I'm not complaining. I'm just documenting my current state, so in the future I have a comparative piece. Or if I end up killing myself, you'll know why. Basically, it's not that this is too much for me to handle, because it's not. I just need some kind of outlet where I can express the situation, and hopefully I did it in an entertaining enough way that you can say, "Ha ha ha! Look at this white boy. He got a great life, and he's complaining that he can't get to work. Oh, when I was 6, I owned a business." Because there are plenty of people who own businesses. In fact, there are probably more business owners in Hull than there are people. To say that business owners aren't people, but there are probably more business owning people than people who aren't business owners. Let's put it that way. Yeah, because every fucking house is a pub or a cafe here. There are factories and fucking shipping port stuff, but I don't know. Government buildings and fucking cafes to feed the people. This place is just not great for work. Maybe my radius is too small, but I don't have transport, so finding work is not easy. Yeah. And the reason why I think it's so important is because in order to have any sense of a fulfilling life, and to have any reason to wake up in the morning, you need to have something to do, somewhere to go, as in like a goal. You need to have love, someone to love, people in your life who you care about, and preferably who care about you as well. I can't remember what the other thing is, but you definitely need stuff to do and stuff to love. So at the moment, I've got a lot of stuff that I have to do, but it's not stuff that is in any way useful. And it's not something that I wake up in the morning thinking, oh yeah, this is great. It doesn't have to be, but when I say something to do, I mean genuine responsibility, not this. Because it's like, if I didn't do this, would I starve? No. if I didn't do this, would I be any more or less successful? No, it wouldn't make a difference. And love. That could be friendships, family, romance. I've tried romance. I come to realize that I just get so anxious. Not what's the word? Not anxious. Exhausted. It's exhausting for me to have social interactions. So I really just I get too tired. And so I'm already tired enough. Then I start trying to find romance, go on Tinder, talk to a girl. It just gets very tiring. It's an exhausting process. So I can't. I don't think I can keep up with that. It's just the process of looking for work and looking for romance at the same time. Not a great thing to be doing. It's just way too taxing. But I can't do neither. So it looks like I have to forego both things and really, really reevaluate my values. I need to get back to the state where, when I was younger, what I had is a passion for video games. And what video games are I don't need to explain video games. I don't need to explain what passion is really, but to me, a passion was a hobby, but it was also an obsession. Like an autistic or OCD obsession. I don't even know what the words are anymore because all these classifications and diagnoses are just overly complicated.
When I was but a wee boy, at 12 or 11 years of age, I began my first MMORPG, which was RuneScape. In this game, the player, as it is a game and it has a player, the player controls their avatar in the vast realms of Gielinor. In the realms of Gielinor, you are a man or a woman. Sometimes, if you're into that, Bruce Jenner, you can roam around the world with a little pickaxe or a wood cutting axe or a little tinder box. You can set fires, you can catch fish, not with your axe, but you know what I'm saying. Explore the world. It's a fantasy, medieval kind of war, fighting, kill rats with a sword, blast them with your magic.
You know, I got really invested into RuneScape, and it was a thing that everyone else in school was into as well at some point. Had a lot of meaning, gave my life meaning. Was the thing that in the morning, right, I wake up in the morning, I'm already thinking, right, get on the computer, I want to be playing RuneScape, I want to be focusing on this objective or this task. RuneScape was a world where you had just infinite objectives, but they were laid out and placed in such a way that you could sort of pick and choose multiple objectives to pursue. So leveling up skills like, for example, being a lumberjack, cutting down trees, wood cutting. You would get experience for every tree that you cut down, and you could get logs from the tree, sell the logs for money, or use them to create goods. Essentially, I would have goals and objectives based around waking up in the morning, trying to log on to the game, and then cut down as many trees as I could before I had to go to school. And if it was a weekend, I didn't have to go to school, so I could just wake up and cut trees down all fucking day, and I fucking loved it. I would go to sleep thinking and calculating, right, so today I managed to cut like 2,000 logs today, and if I cut down 2,000 logs tomorrow at 15 XP per log, this will give me this much XP, 30,000 XP, and you're thinking like, yeah, get this much experience, and the rate of logs to sell at the moment is 100 gold each. So if I sold them, what I get today and then tomorrow, at this rate, it's like, I'm getting like 300 logs an hour. So if I do it for 10 hours, I get 3,000 logs. You just start doing all these calculations of how many hours, what your hourly rate of logs are, what it will be when your skill increases, and what the price to sell is at, or the price has gone up recently, so maybe I should sell them now, and then wait a little bit, or maybe I should wait for them to go even higher, and on all of this kind of thing. And in addition to that, you had like, eventually I would like to have myself maximum level woodcutting, get onto the high scores, competing with other people, sell the logs for money, and with that money I would buy myself some shiny new armor to give myself as a status symbol. There were party hats, just those little Christmas cracker party hats that you get in Christmas crackers. Those were like the most valuable thing in the game, and that was everybody's dream to get one of those. You'd wake up, you had your dream, you get one of those. It was simple. Times were simple when I had that focus and that passion to wake up every morning, play the game, enjoy it, and then go to sleep. And I never felt like my life didn't have meaning, because RuneScape was my life, and it was all that mattered to me. At some point, I played other games, but I still RuneScape was always at the back of my mind. I just did other stuff because sometimes RuneScape wasn't that fun. Cutting down trees 12 hours a day isn't that fun. But it felt somewhat productive to be doing that, and it felt meaningful because the rewards were worthwhile. There was the social aspect of it and the personal aspect of it. The social aspect of it was that you'd be the coolest kid in school. The other social aspect of it was that my brother and dad would play RuneScape, so I had to be better than them, have higher skills and more money than them, for example. And then the same applies to people at school, but the point was it was social, and it was personal. You'd always trying to beat your best, always trying to get what you wanted in the game. And that was important to have. Then I lost that. I had that with other games, other MMORPGs, but never in the same way, never with the same amount of passion. The other games like World of Warcraft were the other big one, and League of Legends. Between RuneScape, League of Legends, and World of Warcraft, just those games alone, I put 12,000 hours into them. And I can prove that by going onto the websites that calculate the playtime of those. Not going to do it now though, because this is a fucking long video. What I'm saying is I put a lot of time and effort into those, and at the time it just felt meaningful and worthwhile. At some point down the line, 2010 to 2012 or so, I had my first experience with falling in love and being in a relationship that lasted about 2 years, although it wasn't really 2 years. It was like a year and a half, maybe a year. I can't remember. The details are fuzzy. But either way, I was in love for that long, and then some time afterwards, I would say. Being in love after the relationship, not a great experience, but I'm just saying that entire process, which was fucking 5 years ago now, since then, I feel like I've just not had anything ever come back and feel as meaningful as games did and being in love did. So I don't know what to do, really. From the time on where I lost my passion for games, and for the time on where I lost my ability to, instead of being obsessed with games, I was obsessed with a girl. Being obsessed with a girl is at least slightly more productive than being obsessed with games, I'll be honest, because it's something that leads into like productive, meaningful life. You have a household together, you have a marriage, you have children, you know, you get to fuck, you get to have your dick sucked. You know, I left that out, but you knew it was what I was saying as well. There are pros and cons to it, but overall, I'd say being obsessed, or at least being in love, let's call it a love, but if it's mutual obsession, then what's the big difference? That's essentially necessary. But when you don't have that, and you don't have a job, or you don't have any real pursuit, you just don't have any reason to be getting out of bed in the morning. Well, I did continue to get out of bed in the morning because I had to go to college and university. And I knew that I had to do that, and I assumed by the end of it, you know, my life would fall into place as it always had done, just by coasting by. Waking up, turning up, doing the work, bare minimum, always got me by. But now I'm finished, you know? That student lifestyle that I just sort of coasted through for the past 5 years of my life is now over. And it's as Jordan Peterson does say, you lose that sense of identity. You're thrown out into the real world, as they say, but into the working world. You don't have any identity. You can't do the bare minimum to get by anymore. And it's not easy to have somebody tell you, this is what your goal is today. It's because you turn up at 9 o'clock or every day, and it's like, okay, well, here's your assignment, or here's what we're doing in this session, pay attention to this. You know, you don't have your routine given to you. You don't have a routine. You don't have any objectives. So your assignments would be your objectives, and going into the college would be your routine. I just don't have that anymore. I have my appointments, but they're all random at different times, and I don't know when I'm going to get them. I have like things that I have to apply for, but I don't know what I'm applying for, when it is, or where it'll be, or if they'll give me any feedback. There's a lot of waiting involved, and that's another stressful thing. Waiting for feedback and replies from people. It's just a different realm entirely, and it's not something that I find very easy to be passionate about. Whereas you can be passionate about RuneScape, you can be passionate about any game or any lifestyle that you have where you're into your career. Consider RuneScape being my career back when I was younger. That was as closest as I would imagine what it's like to be in a career that you're passionate about, or being in love. Imagine if you had both of those. Imagine if you had love and a career that you were passionate about. That would be the best thing ever. You would never even be considering making videos like this if you had both of those things, because you would just be like, oh, fuck that shit, my life's great, living is amazing. I can't understand why anyone would ever want to even contemplate suicide. You wouldn't even understand why people could have this nihilistic outlook on life, as in like, hey, you know what? All life is meaningless, by the way. There is no God, life is meaningless. You tell those people to fuck off because you're having a great time. And I know that because when I was having a great time, I didn't realize it. But that's the thing. You don't acknowledge the misery in life. You don't acknowledge the positivity. But at least you don't acknowledge the negativity. You know, when you're having a great life, you're at least not thinking about existentialism and why your life has no meaning. It doesn't cross your mind. You're just thinking about things that'll help you get further, productive stuff, positive things. You're looking forward to things. I haven't looked forward to things in ages because I don't know what there is in the future to be looking forward to. I don't even have a future plan anymore. My future plan was, before finishing university, my future plan was get a job and then work as many hours a week as I can, 40 being the minimum that I would want to work. And even just sitting in like a factory, you know, doing like a conveyor belt work. I'm willing to do anything like that. Just absolutely anything. And it's not even something I can do, so I just assumed in my head, right, finish university, go into doing that. I thought I would get into doing games. I always thought that would be a hobby. But I don't even feel like making games as a hobby anymore because it's just such a sour thing to have to subject myself to doing that on top of all the rest of things that I have to be doing. So yeah, I thought I would just stroll into doing work and earning money. No, that's not happening. Thought I'd try talking to girls on Tinder. That's not happening either. I'm worse at doing that than I thought I was. I don't know if it's me that's boring. I don't know if it's girls that are boring. I don't know if it's just the fact that I get exhausted and then don't want to talk anymore. Or if it's because I'm worried about saying the wrong thing, even though really there is no wrong thing to say. But I overthink everything I say because I think, hey, I've got the opportunity to think. I might as well think of what to say. Even when I do, it doesn't make a difference because you just say that. You just say the first thing that comes into your mind anyway. So yeah, that entire process of jumping straight out of university into work or getting some meaning back into life. I even tried to play games to bridge the gap. You know, I was saying passion for RuneScape really give my life meaning. Try playing any of these games, just no interest in them whatsoever. I don't know why. I suck at picking up chicks. I don't like that terminology because I view pickup art as a bullshit strategy. It seems to be the only way that you can actually get into a situation where a woman is willing to acknowledge your presence and speak to you. I don't know. I just don't like that aspect of life either. There are many aspects of life that I do think that I like. I don't know, but there are some that I don't like and some that I do. Job hunting and relationship hunting are definitely low on the list. I think that, being attacked by a hurricane, as people have recently in recent news, that was Hurricane Irma, so you can date this video. Hurricane Irma. There are definitely worse things to be subjected to in life, but I want to say, at least with a hurricane, that's something that you can quantify and visualize. So it's a much worse thing to go through. But there's a clear kind of, this is what's happened. There's this much damage. I've lost these things. These people are dead. It's like this quantifications. People understand it and they can do something about it, and they know what they have to do. Oh, I have to rebuy these things. I have to get this from my insurance. You kind of know what you got to be doing. I don't know. I can't really make this comparison. I'm trying. I really can't do it. Hurricane is just much worse, and I can't even try and make this fucking equivalence. It's not working. Anyway, that's enough of my documentation of my current scenario. I did write a bunch of notes, actually. And that was all this over here stuff that I was going to be talking about. I think I've kind of gone over almost everything here. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was it. The reason why talking to people is stressful and exhausting, but I feel lonely if I don't have contact with anyone. So that's a bit of a double-edged sword. Still trying to balance the fuck out of that one. Doing this kind of works. It doesn't, because it's a one-way thing. I can listen to a podcast, and then after listening to a podcast, I can make a video and then put that on YouTube. That's almost similar to having a conversation with somebody, even if it's not directly linking with somebody. It's at least I'm hearing people talk. I'm saying things. You know. Doing stuff. Yeah, saying I can survive. Playing RuneScape. Yeah, I've gone over almost everything I was going to go over. There's a section in here that I'll talk about in the next video, which was addiction and various coping mechanisms to deal with the negativity, because in addition to making videos, I feel like I also have been addicted to internet addiction in general. But that's something that I'll make a separate video for. I hope you found this video entertaining, informative, and potentially, if I'm me in the future watching this, or if you are a person in the future who has suffered these things in the past, you look at this and you can say, hey, that's not what I want to have. So just stay on the right track. Don't go down this. Here's your evidence, another piece of anecdotal evidence. Take from it what you will. Thanks for watching.